Sean Whaley is furious.
He's upset. 100%. 100%.
Oh, on a beautiful Friday, welcome in everyone to a brand new edition of Axe Cake Picks, episode 106. Today is Friday, May 24th, 2024. As always, I'm your host, D-Rock, and joining me from the beautiful state of South Carolina, the legend Joey D. Joe, hot one down there, huh, kid?
Yeah, I don't know if you see you sweating, but happy Brothers Day. I don't know if you know, it's National Brothers Day, so shout out my
Brothers Day.
Yeah, I just finished watching One Friday Fight 64, but other events that are taking place this weekend, Brave CF 83, and even Uriah Faber's A1 Combat 21, both are on tomorrow night. I just thought to mention those events, even though we're not going to really talk about them.
Yeah, shout out to all my brothers out there on Brothers Day. I didn't know that, actually, and one, did you have any action on one this morning?
No, it was a good event, honestly, from top to bottom. Exciting as always. You know, Muay Thai. You can't go wrong with 4-ounce Muay Thai, or if it gets into bare knuckle, you got like Lathway. That's like, it's actually not even bare knuckle. If you know Lathway, it's like Muay Thai with like wrapped hands, so it's even more brutal. But yeah, 4-ounce gloves. I mean, it's sick, bro.
You were mentioning also how we have some promotions. No UFC here on Memorial Day weekend, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You've been a fan since the beginning. There was once a time where Memorial Day weekend was kind of like a huge weekend for the UFC. You know, events like UFC 60, 71, Rampage versus Chuck Liddell, UFC 84, 98. There are a lot of really good moments. Even Hughes, Gracie at 60 was crazy as well. But why do you think the UFC kind of took off this weekend? Because like I said,
maybe it's a glorified week later with 302 taking place in Newark. You know, maybe they figured they could get away with it. You know what I mean? Give fighters a break. There was like a question that came out on social media was saying that, would you want them fighting for a title like every weekend? Or would you rather, you know, how the placement's been? And I think it was unanimously, we like how the placement is. We don't want to be oversaturated with title fights or, you know, just throwing, you know, makeshift fights out on a whim. We want to have the fights that matter. That's what makes the UFC so good. We argue about it all the time with the boxing sphere. So if the promoters and the UFC's under one promoter, if we get the fights we want to see, I think it makes for a better product. So I'm not complaining. I think next week's going to be the glorified Memorial Day weekend battle. But I bet you most of those took place in like AC, where it was like spring breakers and you can get a good crowd and stuff like that. But now UFC's, you know, it's global. You don't need a kind of sanction in you know, beach atmospheres to get kind of the rowdy crowd. It's rowdy as is.
I don't remember this, but 17 years ago today, after UFC 71 weigh-ins, they aired on SportsCenter. You had the famous boxing promoter Lou DiBella.
Go against Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan. He goes, quote, "It's sort of like human cockfighting in my view, or pit bull fighting."
Lou DiBella, I love you.
Yeah. He goes, "Guys are rolling around, elbowing each other in the heads." And Rogan goes, "How is that human cockfighting? You know what that is? That's actually fighting. You know what boxing is? Boxing is a limited form of fighting." Yeah. It's kind of a silly agreement.
I know. I remember it is exactly that. And Joe Rogan schooled him. And it's just that Lou DiBella didn't understand what he was witnessing. And I think as was for the masses. But, you know, the sport is the biggest in the world. And, you know, rightfully so. I mean, it's so exciting. And you fall in love with the fighters. And above all, you fall in love with the fights. So
Lou's looking at that interview 17 years ago today saying, "I'm fucking looking like an idiot now. Look how big the sport has gone." And to be honest, I think it's kind of bigger right now. I know we've had a lot of big fights, and June's going to be a really big month in boxing as well. But I mean, the UFC has come a long, long way in just a short amount of time. But Joe, we got a great show for you. We got some news before we get into some picks, but we'll head to Saudi Arabia, King and Queen WWE pay-per-view this weekend in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We'll break down that card and a huge boxing fight. Speaking of boxing, between the rematch between Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall this Saturday, May 25th. And then we got Cage Warriors to close the show as well. Cage Warriors 172. But Joe, let's start with some news before we get into it. UFC signed a new deal to return to Saudi Arabia for almost double the rights fee for a second event after the June 22nd according to TKO president Mark Shapiro. First deal was reportedly around 20 million. The new one will likely close around 40 million, and it sounds like they're open to further extensions. Do you like this for the UFC?
That oil money's deep. You know what I'm saying? They're able to pay for the WWE events coming over to KSA, and the same goes for the UFC and also boxing. Without His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, we wouldn't get really the boxing fights that we have with, you know, the upset that Usyk had over Fury, because I think Fury was in the betting odds favored as well. So public eye, betting eye, we got to see who is, you know, the rightfully heavyweight champion of the world. And yeah, I like it. I have no qualms about it. They got money to pay Ronaldo to come over to Saudi League. They got, you know, money to pay Live Tour golf. You know, Saudi Arabia has deep pockets, and they're willing to spread the wealth.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people, I think a lot of backlash is like from people who don't really know what's going on in Saudi Arabia. People from the outside like, oh, it's a bad country. But the people and organizations that come over there and have deals, they are treated like royalty.
Yeah,
you hear every actor, every musician that has a concert over there, you hear nothing but good things. So I don't like how people are, you know, judging it on the outside surface, saying, you know, they're getting into business with the wrong type of people. First of all, you don't know those people, and second of all, they're doing good things for the sport, which is a positive thing. So I love it, and I think this relationship is just going to build further and further and longer. So
yes.
Also we have the trilogy between Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva in boxing. Anderson Silva opens up a -500 favorite, Chael Sonnen +325. June 15th, no prop set yet, but we're about 2 to 3 weeks out. Joe, what do you like here? No props yet, but
I think even with the limited weapons, I favor the Spider. I favor Anderson Silva in that. Chael's not a stand-up guy, though. I think he, you know, may able to have that durability, not being punched in the head for 10 years now. I think, you know, he might be able to put up a fight, but Anderson Silva's too skilled. I mean, I know he's lost some of the movement that he had in his prime, but, you know, he's been in the ring. He's fought 10 rounds. He beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. You know, he lost to Jake Paul, but, you know, now look what Jake's doing. He's fighting Mike Tyson, and I think we're all with Mike on that, honestly, for the majority. But, yeah, I think Anderson Silva's got it. I think the odds are right. I think he should be favored in that one. I don't see Chael getting a finish. I don't see him being able to outpoint him when it gets to the judges. So that's why I say the line's right. But I would be leaning with Anderson Silva being able to get Chael Sonnen out of there. I would think the KO TKO is live.
In MMA, is it 2-0 Anderson Silva? Or
yeah, but the thing is in the first one, you know, I think you spoke about it in our previous episode. Chael was dominating the majority of the rounds in terms, even to the fight, the fifth, and then Anderson threw up that, you know, that triangle.
See ya.
Got him. He tried to defend well by, you know, placing his foot onto the bicep. Chael did, but once you miss that bicep with their slippery, all that sweat and stuff, he just got deeper into the triangle. And then he goes and say, well, I tapped and I thought that's just the loss of that one round, meaning I would have won 4 the judges' scorecards. Chael is undisputed.
Yeah. Undefeated, especially on the mic. And I actually like this strategy from Chael Sonnen, meaning I like him because Anderson Silva offered to fight in MMA. Say, listen, we'll finish the trilogy in MMA. But he said, no, I got a boxing fight in October with Jorge Masvidal. Let me go and sharpen my skills against you here in June 15th. Do you like this strategy for Chael Sonnen moving forward? Because I do.
Yeah, you know what? He's very popular as an athlete. His mic ability is going to carry him. You know, I think a lot of eyes are going to be and ears are going to be tuned into the press conference between him and Silva. So, you know, he's going to be the majority of the talker. Silva knows English pretty well now, and he'll be able to get in some there, like saying, like, how are you going to beat me? You know, like, Silva's petty like that, but just not as quick-witted as Chael is. So I think Chael's ability to promote are going to help whatever promotion does take him under the banner, and just let him go, honestly. Because
one of my all-time favorites is, I think it was Ultimate Fighter. You got to refresh my mind when Chael Sonnen was like, I can't let you get close.
Yeah, against Wanderlei in Tough.
Yeah.
One of the toughs. And, you know, if you know a little of the backstory, Chael was trying to be the bad guy and make Wanderlei look like the good guy. And by doing that, Wanderlei somewhat attacking him, or not necessarily, just like enticing it. Chael, by doing that, like protected the the scope of the things, kept everything kayfabe, if you would, that he was still the heel and Wanderlei the face. So smart, man. He's a businessman, and he understands his role very well. So that's why he would do well in boxing.
And I love the video he put out. He goes, "Hey, Anderson, it's me. I'll see you soon." he's the best. I love
Chael,
him,
bro. Uncle Chael.
Yeah, but good luck to them. Was surprised actually that Spider was that big of a favorite, but like you're alluding to, I mean, he's actually had professional boxing fights. Chael Sonnen hasn't, so we will see what happens there. About 3 weeks away on June 15th. No televised broadcast here for America, so Joe, looks like we're gonna have to stream it, kid.
We'll find
it. We'll find it.
Yeah, we'll pay for it.
We'll pay for it. We got fight news for Tom Nolan. Quick turnaround for him. He got the big win about 2 weeks ago. Now he will take on Alex Reyes at UFC 305. Do you like this?
Alex Reyes is a tough dude, man. Tom Nolan got dropped by Victor Martinez. You know, I did take the dog. I think it was worth the value pick there, but we got it wrong. But Tom Nolan, he does have that finishing ability. So I think he needs to string together some wins, and getting it over a tough dude, Alex Reyes, I think that's good for him. So he could keep it moving. I think if this is a quick turnaround for him, you wouldn't want to see him till the end of the year, Tom Nolan, if he gets a victory. If he gets a loss, we probably shouldn't see him until 2025. Hopefully the UFC can keep an exciting fighter like that under contract. Yeah,
the card August 17th at 305 is the Perth card as well, if you guys were keeping track there. But Joe, very disturbing breaking news here. PFL and Bellator, they released Gegard Mousasi from his contract. Basically, the whole thing is he went on Ariel's show, and basically, not just him, multiple people, Cyborg, there are other people, medical issues with ex-Bellator fighters. So before Bellator signed away all of its, basically Scott Croker, before he sent everything to the PFL, he signed Gegard Mousasi and basically said, hey, here's 5-6 more deals, just like your original contract. Here's all this X amount of money you'll be making. And then as a parting gift said, oh, well, you guys have to deal with it now. And PFL, Don Davis is sitting there like, well, we didn't do that. We don't want you. You're too expensive. We don't have any fights for you. And it's a legit contract. It's a legal binding contract. And Gegard Mousasi sitting there like, well, I want to fight. I signed a contract. Now what's up? And Don Davis didn't have anything really to say. And it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, especially the things you were alluding to I think like a few months ago when we were talking about the PFL. And, you know, Gegard Mousasi, his agent came out and said, quote, we will not comment on the merits of this alleged release at this time for obvious reasons. However, we believe there is a greater lesson here that our community should pay close attention to for an organization that repeatedly claims, like you said, fighter first, quote, we now truly see how PFL treats their fighters, especially their legends. You said that about a month or two ago, before this even broke. You were saying how you really didn't trust Don Davis, how, you know, he's the ultimate showman, like used car salesman, where he's always preaching fighter first. But then when it actually comes to the fighter, you know, he's nowhere to be found, or he tries to get a back alleyway or whatnot. One, are you surprised by this move from the PFL? And two, where do you see Gegard Mousasi? Because it seems like he still has something left in him. And Gegard Mousasi is a legend from everything.
Yeah, he could be regarded as one of the greatest middleweights of all time, too.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Gegard Mousasi.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. But just if you look at his resume, he's deep, bro, and he's fought around the world, and he's fought in the UFC and had a good run, and he became champ in Bellator. So it seems like wrongful termination to me. I'm not necessarily surprised because, like you said, it's still, you got to prove it to me. You know, it can't be all hopes and dreams, and then when it comes down, it is a letdown on the PFL's part. So I wouldn't want to let Gegard go. You know, if I was the PFL, I would have figured out a way to be like, hey, look, maybe we can't agree to these terms and whatever, but we can agree to something. I want you to fight under our banner. Like, try to like negotiate. Like, that's your job as the,
that's the problem, Joe. They didn't even want to negotiate. They weren't even picking up his calls.
If he's now the thing is he's being released from his contract. It'd be wrongful termination. He obviously is going to have a lawsuit 100%. That he can pursue. But now, is he going to be like held hostage by a non-existing contract, or is he free to go and fight let's say for one, because I could easily see him being a champion there. I could see him fighting on lower promotions, but the Gegard deserves to be paid really handsomely. So that's why maybe a return to the UFC is on the table. He's later in his life. I think he's about 40 now, but he still looks in good shape. He still seems to be a great fighter. And I think there'd be some fans that would clamor for his return in the UFC, but I do see other promotions picking up. I just wonder if he'll be held up with any litigation from there on. But I'm glad you saw this and dug this up, because I hadn't seen this anywhere. Gegard Mousasi is a beast, bro. So I thought I would see that like as soon as I turned on, one of my social medias and seen it. I didn't see it anywhere. So the fact that you dug this up, man, kudos to you for doing so.
And then I started to dig a little, because people are regarding Gegard Mousasi as, quote, legend. And legend isn't just a word that's being thrown around, and everyone is using legend. So I started looking this guy up, and you're right. This guy is the cream of the crop. And now I understand why at least pick up the phone, have a conversation, try to have some type of dialogue where you could try to come to a resolution, but there was nothing. Apparently, they wouldn't even pick up the phone for him. And then after he went on Ariel's show on Monday, on Tuesday, he was released. So, Don Davis was watching it and saying, You know what? Fuck you, dude. I'm going to just release you now. So I think we're not going to figure it out to a while, because I think lawsuits are going to happen. Obviously, we'll find out in the coming days, but I hope he can find a home. A lot of people are claiming for a return to the UFC. Do you like that? Because that welterweight division, if he still is at middleweight, 185 is even harder.
Yeah, it's even deeper in a sense. I just think that there's some like legacy fights that he could, take. He doesn't have to get thrown into the top of the heat just yet, because he's being re-entered into the pool. But like I said, one's on the table. I wouldn't see him venture outside of mixed martial arts. I wouldn't see him going to BKFC or any strict boxing matches. He's a mixed martial artist through and through. Maybe some kickboxing match. That's why I thought one would be a go home for him, because then he could maybe compete in some submission grappling fights, or like I said, maybe some kickboxing fights. I don't think he would compete in strictly boxing or Muay Thai. I think he's a complete mixed martial artist, and he would want to stay that way. And he wants to get paid handsomely. That's why I think he's separated from the UFC in the first part, because like you mentioned, the quote, "Show me the money, bitches." And now he's not getting what he deserves in the PFL. And shame on Don Davis for continuing this, and he's basically continuing the vicious cycle that was prior with the Bellator and PFL. And there seems to be no resolution in sight. So you got to do better. And the fighters deserve to get paid. And if you agree to a contract, I mean, you purchased the PFL. Seems like he wasn't transparent and when the purchase and what he was getting from it. Now he wants to do his own thing and not oblige the fighters that, like you said, signed these contracts. So I think the lawsuit's going to be favorable for Gegard Mousasi. I know he'll have a couple sharks that will gladly take this case and most likely come out victorious.
I want to talk to Gegard Mousasi. I would love to hear his side of it and everything, and him explain. And I know there are probably certain things he really can't release or say, but I just don't think he's being done right here. Especially,
or his story is not being heard entirely.
Yes, because this is honestly Monday was the first time I've heard of this. Especially his sake.
Turn it now.
And then PFL founder Don Davis continued to go and attack fighters. He went on Kayla Harrison, moving to the UFC, quote, "Some people at the very, very, very top of their career are LeBron James, and some of them at the very top of their career are Kevin Durant. And they are both otherworldly basketball players, but who they are very different as people. One wants to lead and change their sport, and wherever they are is the best in the world. The other is a follower who needs validation, and we couldn't do anything about that." Basically saying Kayla Harrison is not a leader and wanted to just follow the UFC and
throw shade at not only
I don't like this, Joe. To be honest, Kayla was the face of the PFL for years. She carried them on her back. She did it for all of them and then some. And there was honestly, besides the Cyborg fight, what was there to do there for her? The UFC.
Who would have known if that fight would have even happened?
Exactly. The UFC is the pinnacle. I mean, I don't even consider myself a diehard, and even I know the UFC is the top of the top. It was the last mountain for her to climb. I mean, it's from an outside perspective, it's completely understandable that she wanted to end her career at the UFC. You know what I mean? Like, I honestly, I prefer the approach that we saw from Scott Croker when Chandler signed to the UFC. You know what he said? He said, "Good luck, Mike. You were great to us. We'll be cheering for you."
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lesson you should learn.
Yeah, absolutely. And Scott may not have been the best of in terms of business guy, but he was a good promoter, and he done well by most fighters from what I recall. And yeah, I think that's the way to build good reputation with not only your fighters but with the public. And I think Don Davis is continuing a bad reputation.
What's this kid's fucking deal?
I don't know. It's not looking good for them. Like we said, this is concerning because you want this, more promotion gives more opportunities for fighters. But if this company folds, then what is going to be left? We're going to go into a monopoly. But yeah, it's a shame, man. Honestly,
sad.
I had a lot more to say, but I kind of
no, you're good. No, you're good. Maybe you'll think about it. But I'm starting to turn my wheel now on Don Davis because you were alluding it to it first, and I was like, give the guy a chance. I was kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt, but you saw right through it, and I appreciate that. And Kayla Harrison posted a picture, I think, like an hour after that clip went viral, and I love it. She's taking the high road, and she goes, "Unbothered, happy, in my lane, focused."
That's why I was saying it was shade to not only Kayla Harrison but KD right there. He tried to kill two birds with one stone. Some reason he's crossing over into the NBA, but
it's like whack at this point, though, Joe.
Yeah, it's very weird to be honest with you. He's got to be compensated.
That's a grown man.
Yeah, there's something going on. He's got some skeletons in the closet. That's what's going on.
Let's change, though. We got some boxing news about 30 minutes before we went live. Errol Spence has a fight against Sebastian Fundor. It's reportedly now agreed to for Fundor's WBC Super Welterweight World title in October. The PBC is hope to stage the event at AT&T Stadium. If it is finalized, it has to fit in the Cowboys' home schedule, but they're aiming AT&T Stadium. Errol Spence going to face Sebastian Fundora for the WBC Super Welterweight. Do you like this fight for Errol Spence?
He needs to get a win back and get in that belt. I think it's an interim. Am I wrong?
I don't think so. From everything I've read, it just says WBC Super Lightweight.
But still, it's going to be much needed. He's on the pound for pound list still, but I have a case against that, him being given the top 10 pound for pound. I think, honestly, with all the fighters that we have in the high level that we're seeing, if you have a loss in your record, I don't think you should necessarily make the top 10 fighters pound for pound. I think as much as boxing, we talked about it before, as much as they stress of not losing that I think it reigns eternal in pound for pound. So he has that loss against Bud. Granted, Bud may be arguable number one. Still, I don't think with a loss he should be in the top 10 pound for pound. So he needs a win to get that belt and get some recognition back and possibly be able to get a fight back. But man, Fundora's tough, and I actually would lean him. I think that he's going to defend his belt. I think I do think he might be the quicker fighter in there. So we'll see. We'll see who's going to come into more shape. I think that's going to play a huge factor. Who's going to do more work in their camp and not, kind of just ride out the money they're going to be receiving at the end of it.
Bet Online, a little offshore account, has odds. Can you guess the odds? Who is favorite?
Being that Errol Spence is still on the pound for pound, I think they would. I think Fundora should be favorite, but I'm gonna guess that they have Errol Spence as a favorite.
Errol Spence Jr. minus 198, Fundora plus 160.
Yeah, and I think it should be a little closer than that. But he has a shot. He has a shot to get a belt again and look good while doing so. But man, Fundora stands his ground and gets another win and puts another L on Errol Spence. He should never have been in the top 10 pound for pound on those lists. So our lists are more right than that.
Joe, I feel like we can make a list every other week and it will change every other week. We got a little update from Khalil Roundtree. I know last week we talked about maybe a year, like at most, but Khalil Roundtree, he accepted a 2-month sanction retroactive to May 4th after self-reporting a violation of UFC's anti-doping policy. After he took a supplement that contained a banned substance, he will be able to return to competition from July 4th, meaning he still remains out from 303 on June 29th. So I think they were a little less strict on him because of the self-reporting. Do you think 2 months is fair?
Yeah, I think if they could prove that it wasn't intentional, I don't know if you had in your news to talk about the other
Yeah,
doping
right
thing, but
next, but yeah.
that seemed that they're looking like that was intentional. So I think that they'll give him good graces. He is a team player. He's a company guy. Sometimes that
Yeah.
comes back to bite you, not protecting yourself at times, but he did the right thing. He presented the facts and it proved to be true. So he
Yeah.
does it, if he willingly did it to gain an edge, then if everyone's clean, you deserve that suspension, maybe longer than a year. But the fact that it was, everything was presented, he wasn't intentional, and he did the right thing. Let him take out what is a retroactive, suspension,
Yeah.
and then once it's cleared, get him back in action. I think we all want to see him fight.
Of course.
He's a rising star, and he's putting together some good fights. So let's get him back in there as soon as we can. And do you have another story as well
Yeah,
besides
of
what we're going to talk
course.
about next with what his fight was supposed to be? All right.
Yeah, and like I said, Joe, I'm burying the lead here, but I'm really starting to get mad. People have to start crediting us or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we need to start clipping these videos with a timestamp because I feel like we are the first ones to this or throw it out there, and it comes true. Khalil Roundtree out, like we said, and now Jamal Hill will take on Carlos R. Ulberg at the UFC 303 June 29th at the co-main event.
Yeah, bro. We said it, and I think that was the first name out of my mouth when you asked me. I was like, honestly, he could turn around. I was looking at maybe Yuri versus Jamal, but I wonder what.
And then I threw out Carlos Ulberg, and you're like, oh, maybe that's a big jump, and I was like, bro, he's ready.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a big jump, but I do think as a skill, the thing is that Hill's going to want to keep it standing. I really do think that he's going to want to bang. So, it could be a favorable matchup for Ulberg. He gets a win like that under his belt, bro. He's right in the title mix. I don't know if you throw him with one more fight with one of the top 205 guys, but man, this is a massive opportunity for him and another chance for Jamal Hill to right the wrong with the loss. Because I know he had arguments. We've talked about that with the stop after the nut kick and then the closure of space and the footstep and just this whole stuff. But Jamal Hill seems ready to go. He was out there cheering for Chaos Williams. So yeah, I like the fight. I think it's going to be an entertaining one. It's kind of perfectly working out for 303.
One thing, no one goes to more Apex cards than Jamal Hill. Does this man has a life? Like he just goes to these Apex cards.
He's probably training at the Performance Institute, he's training back, where he's.
You need to be training in Flint, Michigan right now and get your head right. Honestly.
No, but the PI is good, man. It's free training. Probably some of the best trainers there. He's probably seen more bodies, you know what I mean? Like other camps are coming in to train there. So you get more looks, you get more reps with different people, and you could just see where you're at. So I like it, honestly. And why not? If you can be the one to stay there for every fight, not like what we talked about when the Apex is going to kick you out after your fighter is gone. I'll do it. I'll stay there for the entirety of the card.
My question to all the people that are upset with Carlos Ulberg receiving this, short notice opportunity on a really big card. Conor McGregor is headlining this card, so it's going to see a lot of eyes. My question is, who would you rather have? That's my thing. Unless Magomed Ankalaev isn't ready, we know Yuri just got out of the dark for 3 days. But other than that, who's gonna verse Jamal Hill?
It made sense. I think the only other name we mentioned was Nikita Krylov, the minor. But I don't know. He's a little older in his career. This is a good opportunity for Ulberg, man. He's got the face. He's got pretty good mic skills. But above all, he performs. We saw him live, and we saw what he was able to do there. And we've seen him from here on out, man. He steals the show. So that's the thing.
And your woman.
And your woman. And he's a star on the rise. And man, he could put the lights out. He could do a lot, man. I honestly, as much as Jamal Hill's a threat and he could be checking Ulberg, I'm going to be rooting for Ulberg, man. I really think he has a good shot.
Yeah. Did you hear the Venezuela vixen? She goes, that Carlos Ulberg, he is fine. So I mean, he's getting the fighters. He's getting your girl. Just hide your girl if you're gonna go see Carlos Ulberg. Guess whose line is it anyway? Jamal Hill, Carlos Ulberg, co-main event June 29th.
Minus 250 Jamal Hill.
Oh no, close, way close.
Okay.
Minus 120 Jamal Hill, even money, plus 100 for Carlos Ulberg. They're giving Carlos Ulberg a lot of respect.
Yeah, I mean, I think what they're trying to do, man.
They're trying to bait people to take Carlos Ulberg.
That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to get that money coming in on him. If the line was what I said, then I think people would be hesitant.
Oh,
They'd be
yeah.
like,
Oh,
they
yeah.
know something. But now that it's that close, I think they want to put a lot of money. But the people could make out on this. Like I said, if he turns out to be the truth, bro, they can make out and Vegas can lose. And we always like when Vegas loses, unfortunately.
Yeah. we love to take the money from the books. But Joe, that's all the news I got. Before we get into our plays, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer. No better time to have it this Memorial Day weekend. It is the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. Is no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing a round of golf down with Joe or an elderberry watching WWE King and Queen, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, Joe, let's get into these picks. We will start in the WWE in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The event starts early start time, 1 o'clock on the Peacock. We got a kickoff show an hour before that.
Jeddah, right?
Yeah, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. We still don't know the official final matchups in the tournament. You know, Gunther and Lyra, you know, they have claimed the spots for the Raw side, but Friday night tonight on SmackDown, Randy Orton will face Team Matanga, and Nia Jax will battle Bianca Belair to determine the other half of the final. Also, Cody Rhodes will defend his undisputed WWE Championship for the second time against United States champion Logan Paul. He managed to politic his way around having to defend his belt, but that's neither here nor there. 2 more title matches on the card. We got Becky Lynch putting the women's world title on the line against Liv Morgan and Sami Zayn. Liv Morgan, and then Sami Zayn defending his Intercontinental Championship in a triple threat match with Chad Gable and Bronson Reed. Joe, let's start with actually the triple threat match. We have, what did I just say?
Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, Bronson Reed.
Yeah, who do you got?
I think Sami Zayn retains. I had it forced that it was just going to be Chad Gable against Sami Zayn, but they throw Bronson Reed into the mix. I think it's tough, he's a wild card, Bronson Reed, now into that. I didn't see any odds, so I don't have any.
Yeah,
numbers.
You got to go on like offshores.
Yeah.
We're just picking them.
Yeah, so I got to go with Sami Zayn retaining. I didn't think that he would lose against Chad Gable. Everyone hates Chad Gable. It'd be good to see like a heel like that, I guess become victorious and hold the belt, and now everyone's going after him. But maybe like if that happens, you see Otis go for the Intercontinental Championship, someone from his own camp that he's bullying around because nobody likes Chad Gable right now. But do you see Bronson Reed taking a pinfall? I don't know. I mean, it's a tough situation. So I just got to go with, I got to go with the champ in this spot. It's hard for me to say, but I think Sami Zayn will wind up pinning Chad Gable if he does win. So what you got?
8-0 in my last 8 WWE picks,
Yes.
but I'm gonna go against the grain, even though I think you're right. Give me Chad Gable to win the title.
Who's the pin?
I got you. Sami Zayn. I think he's a great fighter. I love his story. He's an awesome underdog champion. His performance against Gunther at WrestleMania and was incredible. And then Intercontinental title against Gable in Montreal, called to mind Rocky Balboa in the best ways. But don't forget, the fans originally wanted Gable to challenge Gunther at WrestleMania. The Alpha Academy leader, he's long overdue for a singles title reign. A triple threat match is the perfect way to give Gable a shot at the title without Zayn taking a clean loss. So it also gives Chad Gable and Sami Zayn like a new lease on their feud, I feel like. So The match is no disqualification stipulation, also benefits Gable. You know, I think maybe Otis gets involved a little bit and fucks him up, but I think he pins Bronson Reed, and I think Chad Gable is your new champion.
So they protect Sammy.
Yeah,
And
they protect Sammy.
and Bronson Reed.
Let's go to the Queen of the Ring. So it's obviously going to be either Nia Jax or Bianca Belair. We'll start with tonight. Who do you got? Bianca Belair, the EST, or Nia Jax?
As much as I would rather see Bianca Belair, but my thing is that Nia Jax just beat Jade Cargill, and if you're beating Jade Cargill, I think you're going to beat Bianca Belair. I don't think it's kind of a redemption thing. Bianca's going to protect her friend, and this. No, I just think that Nia Jax is kind of on a tear. So the irresistible force to move on. And then if she beat Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, I think she'd win King of the Queen of the Ring and beat Lyra Valkyria. I don't think you put on the NXT star to be Queen of the Ring. Getting her there is good enough after beating Io Sky, a former champ. So Nia Jax, Queen of the Ring, it kind of pushes her to do what she wants now back in the division.
How do you pronounce this girl's name? Lyra
Valkyria. Yeah, Lyra Valkyria.
Valkyria, you know, I think tournaments can be useful to advance careers. And I think that's exactly what the WWE in driving Valkyria to this final. You know, she made it further than I think most people expected. And she's
I predicted that she would.
Okay.
I said that she was going to beat Io Sky surprisingly, and she made it here. So to your point.
Yeah, you know, and I think immediately is a player in the Raw's women's division now, but this is where Valkyrie's wings, I think, get clips. You know, multi-world champion Bianca Belair, I think she wins tonight.
Wow.
I think she beats Nia Jax. And, you know, Belair was surprisingly the number one pick in the 2024 WWE draft. And that status requires a follow-through. The promotion did well to immediately put the women's tag team on her, becoming the second Queen of the Ring would put another feather in her cap and just boost the tournament in the short history. Give me Bianca Belair to win tonight and tomorrow.
Wow,
I'm taking Bianca Belair. I know I've kind of gone, I guess you could say, chalk for most of the WWE things. I'm going against the grain this weekend.
Kid. I like it.
Yeah, Memorial Day weekend.
Saudi Arabia, roof blows up, man. I mean, they're going to be booing the roof off the place if Sammy loses. That's for one. But, man, to see unseen things like this, that'd be cool. We're on the same side that Lyra, it was enough to make it.
Yeah.
But we have different opinions on who's going to be there.
Let's stay in the women's fight game, and we'll stay with the Women's World Championship. Champion Becky Lynch, the man, will take on Liv Morgan. Joe and new?
No, I got to go with Becky Lynch to retain. It's weird. Liv Morgan's in a precarious situation because I feel like she's got a lot of fanship behind her, both men and women, but I don't think the company's backing her entirely. I think they're more comfortable keeping Becky Lynch as champion, more of a rock of the company, a pillar, than a wild card in the real life aspect of it, not in the terms of the story. I know she's, she hurt Rhea and she's that wild card in the story.
Intentionally.
But in terms of what she's doing behind the scenes, I think that cause for concern for the company. They don't want her to, be the champion and get pulled over for drug charges again. You know what I mean? I just, let's face facts, honestly. So I feel like Liv Morgan, she needs a little more time, stay on the straight and narrow, and then maybe we could talk about becoming a champ. I had her being the champ, like maybe off of Rhea back in the day, or becoming somehow, maybe win like the tournament, over the top rope would have been better for her. But to beat Becky Lynch on a one-on-one, I don't see the man losing.
Yeah, we're on the same sides here, Joe. I expect Liv Morgan's quote-unquote revenge tour gimmick, or whatever you want to call it, I think it will end very quickly here. I also believe, they're going to stretch out this program while, Becky Lynch, I think she's on her back end of her career a little bit. I think the WWE tends to avoid having championships change hands during Saudi shows. And I think that is also where I'm kind of weary here with my other picks. But I do expect Becky Lynch to win. And then maybe once Mommy comes back from injury, I think they could have a feud between Liv and Rhea Ripley. But I'm going to go and still Becky Lynch here. Let's go to the King of the Ring finals. Either Gunther's either gonna face Randy Orton or Tima Tonga. First, who do you got tonight, and who do you got tomorrow?
You know, my prediction prior was that Jey Uso was going to beat Gunther in an upset, and then it would have made sense that Tama Tonga would have been there, you know, have kind of like the bloodline facing off for King of the Ring. But now that Gunther proved his might, I do think that Randy Orton's going to show levels to Tama Tonga. He's too new of a face to go ahead and get down. Unless they're doing kind of the same thing what they're doing with the Queen of the Ring and pushing the new faces, and Tama Tonga beats Randy tonight, that'd be an upset that I didn't expect. But I do think Randy Orton will get to the final. And if it's King and Queen, King of the Ring general just makes sense. I think Gunther would wind up winning the King of the Ring. If it's Tama Tonga or Randy Orton, I think Gunther's going to wind up winning.
Yeah, I agree. I got Randy Orton winning tonight, and I feel like the crown had Gunther's name written on it the moment he announced he'd be participating in this event. You know, it's going to be another addition to the impressive resume for Gunther, and depending on whether it is Randy or Tonga, it doesn't matter. They're going to cut him loose. It's going to be the best match of the show, in my opinion, and I got Gunther winning the King of the Ring. And then last but certainly not least, for the undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes taking on Logan Paul. How did he wind up having to put his belt on the line, but this kid didn't?
Nick Aldis announced it. You know, that's what they announced as his next competitor. And, you know,
yeah,
Logan Paul has a chance. No, not a chance. Not a single chance in hell is Cody Rhodes losing his belt to Logan Paul. It's kind of to get the fanship involved in Saudi Arabia. They pay top dollar to host these events, and Logan Paul being in the main event, it kind of makes sense. You know, the notoriety. And not in terms of, you know, what's going on in the division and what's going on in the WWE, but like in terms of like star power. He brings a lot of eyes to it. A lot of casual viewership, and then what you're going to get and what you're going to want from, you know, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I think they wanted to see Logan Paul in that.
100%.
So, and like you said, it adds to the storyline of Logan not defending his U.S. championship. So he's getting what he wants, and it's making him more of a heel, and it's just working wonders for the storyline. But Cody Rhodes is not, he's not losing to Logan Paul. It may be a very good match because I think Logan Paul actually is a good wrestler. I think this is better for him than fighting gimmick boxing matches and doing this and doing that. I do think that regardless of him skipping the line a bit, I think he's proven himself in the ring.
100%. And we've given him his flowers. We talked about how good of a wrestler he is, and coming into the sport late and being a professional and doing some of the things that, like, on the top rope, what he did on the Royal Rumble was insane. Like, not a lot of people could do that. So I agree on that stance. But yeah, there's no way Cody Rhodes is losing. The outcome of this match was never in doubt, particularly once Logan Paul refused to put his United States Championship on the line. It should be a fun match, but there's no risk in Rhodes losing the title until he gets embroidered in a fuel built more on title shot. Logan Paul has no thing. They're just doing this to put notoriety on the card. Should be a fun match, though. I do think it will be a fun match. There's no way Logan Paul's winning this match. And still, give me Cody Rhodes. That's all I got for the WWE. Let's go to one of the biggest boxing matches in over the weekend, going down in Leeds, UK, Saturday, May 25th. I don't know the walkout times. Trying to find that for you, but I don't have it as of right now. But anyway, we got Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall 2. Main card starts at 2 p.m. So I just found it. That's why
I would say it's probably you're gonna make the walk around like 8 o'clock. To be honest with you, 8
okay,
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, they're saying 6.
Yeah,
it could be 7.
Yeah, it could be exactly.
The first fight was very controversial. Josh Taylor won, and a lot of people didn't think he won. I didn't think he won. I went back and watched it again before the episode. I didn't think he won. I thought the judges clearly got that one wrong. So, this is going to be a very interesting match. This is the second fight, and I'll go first before you go, Joe.
Go
I'm going to take Jack Catterall here on the money line. I got it a little early at -110. Right now, I'm looking at the odds. Jack Catterall is a minus 140. Favorite. Jack Catterall minus 140, plus 130 for Josh Taylor. I just don't think this is a good fight for Josh Taylor. You know, a lot of people petitioned for this to be a catch weight fight. I don't think so. You know, even if it was, I feel like Jack Catterall was going to be the more dominant fighter. I feel like he's in his prime while Josh Taylor is kind of being ushered on his way out. And, you know, I think Jack Catterall gets his revenge, and I think he settles the score when he shouldn't really had to. I thought he won the first fight. Now having to come and fight again, I think it goes over the round prop 10.5, but it's very chalky at minus 250. I think it goes all 12 rounds. So maybe fight to go to distance. I like that as well. But I'm going to take Jack Catterall here. I think he gets his revenge, and I think he settles the score and finishes the story.
Yeah, it's always hard to beat the same guy twice, but I went with the plus money value in Josh Taylor. You know, he's beat Regis Prograis in the past. He came off the loss with Teofimo Lopez. But I do think you learn a lot from a loss like that. And I know he's a little older, and you could say he's kind of, you know, on his way out, but I don't see that. I still think he's on top of his game, and he may have the answers. He may have looked back at the previous fight and saw that, you know, it was argument that Jack should have won on the split. It could have gone either way, but I think he's kind of addressed a lot of those, you know, holes and said, you know what, I beat him once. I have the confidence to go in there and beat him again. And when I see the plus money in this, I got to take it. So I think Josh Taylor stays up victorious and he puts an end to the story, because if Jack Catterall does win, I don't think the story's completely over. I think
you run it back for a trilogy?
You can argue for a third fight. I think there's an argument to be made there. So if Josh Taylor does wind up winning again, I think it closes the book.
Oh man, we got a loaded show next week. I'm just thinking about it. We got the 5-on-5 with Matchroom and Queensberry, Deontay Wilder and Zilang Zhang. You got Dimitri Bivol and Malik Zende.
So that fight is actually got announced.
Yeah.
So Bivol is not fighting Biederberg. He's not waiting.
No, he's not. And do you know the line?
It's probably like minus 2,000.
Bivol is 18-1, minus 1,800 plus
minus 2,000. That's actually pretty good.
Plus 850 is Malik Zane.
I like the Filip Hrgovic fight versus Daniel Dubois. I think that's a big ass fight.
Daniel Dubois is another guy that Alexander Usyk beat. Daniel Dubois is the underdog at plus 200.
Rightfully so. Hrgovic is a bomber, bro.
Minus 235. The whole card is going to be bonkers.
Yeah.
I love it.
I like it a lot. I think it was smart on their part because they're competing against
UFC.
Huge UFC 302.
Yeah. In Brick City, baby.
Bigger.
Let's go to Cage Warriors 172. Only money line up yet, right?
Yeah, that's all I've seen. I'm surprised by that because we're a day away and we don't have props yet. So maybe on some overseas, just like in the WWE.
Yeah,
maybe we'll get something like that. But for 10 seconds left, Cage Warriors 172. This fight in the main event is for the Venkit Featherweight Championship. It's between Harry Hardwick, which you said is a minus 500 favorite against Orlando W. Prins at plus 375. And I got to go with the Dutchman. I got to go with the guy from Netherlands. Give me the underdog Prins at plus 375. I think he's an explosive fighter. I think that's always an X factor in these type of fights, though. Harry Hardwick does seem to win on the judges' scorecards a lot. I think he could get iced in one. So I got to take the explosive fighter with the chance in the plus money, plus 375. 5 in a row. Let's hope we can make it 6 in a row.
I was just going to ask, what's the streak at now? 5-0, looking to make it 6-0. Let's fucking go, Joe. Little ending note. Want to wish Alicia Bumgarner happy birthday.
Yep. Happy birthday.
Champ.
That's right.
Any last words? What are you doing Memorial Day weekend? Any barbecue? What are you doing? Staying out of trouble?
Working.
Attaboy. Fucking boy. But everyone have a good Memorial Day weekend. That's going to do it for this Friday edition of Axe Cake Picks. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Joey, I am D-Rock. Make sure you guys follow along our social media, Twitter and Instagram at Axe Cake Picks. You guys can find all of our episodes if you missed one wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. If you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, rate, give us a review. Leave in the comments who you'll be betting on this weekend. All that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend, everyone. Good luck this weekend. Be safe, be well. We'll see you guys on Monday. Peace.